Hello, welcome to the DraftCast. Rich is back to discuss the league table and hopefully give us some insight on how he has closed the gap on Ben at the bottom of the table. He also brings a new segment, so I hope you're looking forward to that. How are you, Rich?
I'm alright, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Good, thank you.
Nice to be back.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I'm guessing this will be my last appearance right now before the end of the season.
Yes, it will be, I believe. Yeah.
Pressure's off.
That's it, yeah, you're done after this. Like I mentioned, you're doing well in the league, aren't you? So we'll take a look at the league table, and we're currently partway through game week 29, so there's likely to be some changes to this yet still, but
I've got a few players left to play, I think. Just my Arsenal and Tottenham players. I don't think that's going to change too much.
No, but like I said, you've over the last few game weeks you've been tearing up, catching up to Ben at the bottom there.
Yeah, so I was looking at it today. I think a few weeks ago, or probably about a month ago, maybe. I think it was close to like 200 points behind Ben at one point. Like somewhere near that, and to be sort of 31 points behind now is it's not been a bad effort from my team, to be fair. Like pretty consistent weeks. I think there's only been maybe one week in the last 5 or 6 maybe where I've dropped under 40, if I'm not wrong. So like I think at the start of the season they were saying like a good average to be aiming for was 40, I think. So yeah, I've been hitting the average, and I think I had an 81 maybe in the double game week or something like that, which wasn't so bad. That helped me gain a lot of ground. It's good to be over the. I've just hit the 1,000 mark, so it doesn't look as bad on the table now when everyone else is like beyond 1,000 points, and I'm still like rocking sub 900.
Yeah.
I'm pleased with the progress so far. I'm just hoping I can go that just a little bit further. I don't think I'll get any closer than ninth. I don't think. I think 10th is probably a good sort of aiming point for me. I think as a season result, if I can get 10th, that'd be a massive achievement given where I was and where I've got to. I've just got to rely on Jack's current form continuing, and Ben's as well. But both similar sort of bracket of points.
I think you can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully.
The top of the league though are all having pretty good weeks. I mean, Will's having a really good week with 55, but the other 3 are on 40 odd, so they're keeping it interesting at the top. I think Tolly's done really well to catch them up and is now part of that lot at the top.
He really has. It's been a great effort from Tolly. I'd love him to get at least third off Tom. No offense to Tom, but I think it was it Tolly last year that was in third or second place right until the end, and then more or less the last game week he got knocked out. I think by Tom, I can't remember who the top 3.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a good redemption story for Tolly to place this year, and given his form, I think he more than does it. I mean, what was his score the other week? 112?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, like, immense. Very, very worthy of a medal, that.
Yeah, definitely. And Lawrence is also having a good few weeks. He's catching Jim up.
Exactly. We're in times for the cup as well. I think it's Lawrence, Jim, myself, and
me.
You. I mean, even yourself in even this week, you're doing well, and in the weeks gone by, you've been hitting some decent scores. So I think you and Lawrence, no offense to Jim, are the ones to avoid for me anyway.
I think you can be part of that as well, Rich. You've had some really good weeks recently. I think we all have, to be fair. So it could be close, and I'm interested to see what the draws are going to be in a few weeks' time.
I'm hoping for Jim. Just purely because he's scoring similarly to me, so I think it won't be a complete whitewash. It'll be quite close. But,
that's fair enough. I mean, it's still interesting with the league. Like, still from 5th to 9th, still pretty tight. I mean, is what, just over 40 points, so it's close.
I was surprised that. I mean, I was just looking there. I didn't realise George had taken such a drop, because I mean, last time I remember, George was on like a massive rise, and like with some good results. And I think he was up to somewhere near James, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, to see him down in 9th was quite a surprise. I didn't realise he on that much of a decline. But yeah, I'm sure he can pull that back.
Yeah, well, probably by the end of game week 29, me and George probably swap back places.
Yeah.
Depending on who he's got left to play and who I've got left to play. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but yeah, that we might end up swapping back round. But you're right, he was up there, I think, with Tolly and Jim. He was part of the chasing pack, and now he's down here with me. So, but yeah, I think you're right. I think the cup's quite an interesting 4 left. So I'm not sure who I'd want. I think you're right. I think Jim is the one you want in the draw, but you just never know. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Although, yeah, I mean, I'm just looking through his previous scores now. Like, it's really not up and down, but like, if I go back to game week 23 and then onwards, it's like 35, 41, 58, 52, 38, 65, 31. So it's like kind of jumps up and down. Like he either has like a really good week or like an average week. So yeah, hopefully consistency might pay off.
Yeah.
If you're against him, but
well, we'll see, won't we?
When's the draw? Do you know when the draw is?
I believe it's happening in the week before the actual cup. So game week 31 is the cup, the semi-final week. So I think it will be after the waivers of game week, the start of game week 31. The draw will be announced. So yeah,
nice.
Not long. I think it's literally in a couple of weeks now.
Yeah, I think Adam said he was gonna maybe do it literally like a day before the start of the game week to make it a little bit more dramatic.
Yeah. Which I quite like that, because then it just doesn't give you time to sort of plan around who you've got. It's just sort of, we're all on the same boat then, aren't we?
Yeah. My biggest well, it's not that big in the grand scheme of things, but it's like my quandary or whatever is, do I try and change my team up to try and do well in this cup, or do I keep things as they are and try and keep the consistent results in to try and get the best league position possible?
Right, yeah. Well, it's interesting you say that, because I was going to move on to looking at your team. So we'll have a look at your team, and I've got a couple of questions. And my first one was going to be, who has been the key part of your team to help you close that gap at the bottom?
Certainly not Calvert-Lewin, I can tell you that. It's done nothing for me really. I guess you gotta put Saka in there. Yeah, I think Saka's probably Saka and White. To be fair, I mean, both my Arsenal players. I mean, Arsenal have had a rich reign of form recently. I think they've won the last 5 games or something like that. And there's been a few clean sheets along that road. I think I think Ben White's got me like a fair amount of points. Since Vanny is 6-1-1, 6-6, 2-6, 8-7, 2-2-1-7. So he's not done badly at all. And Saka is obviously one of their star players at the minute. I'd have to say those two. I mean, I've recently dipped my toe into the Man City team, which I always say I never do, just because I don't like playing pep roulette like some of the other managers. I rather cheekily got Edison and Gundogan from Tolle, which I don't think it worked out too badly for him. I think Sarr was actually probably one of the reasons, like you say, that contributed to my form. I think he got me a good chunk of points, and now obviously Tolly's got him, and I think he's doing okay for Tolly. So you would prefer to have Edison, I'm guessing, and obviously you got Coutinho for Gundogan, and obviously Coutinho, I think he scored and assisted maybe last game or something like that, and maybe an assist before that. It looks like it was in my favour, like when it happened. But I think if you look at it now, it's probably even or in Tolly's favour. So I think he did all right at that. But yeah, Gundogan's not been in the team for the last 2 games, I don't think so. This is the reason why I don't have Man City players.
Yeah.
But yeah, I picked up Stones at the right time, I think, because of is it an injury to Diaz or Cancelo or something like that? I can't remember who, but he's back in the team, and obviously Man City don't concede a lot, so he's like good sort of it's a good like guaranteed 6 points almost.
Yeah. I was going to say, have any of the trades that you've done, do you regret really badly, or have you sort of come to terms with most of them now? I mean, Ronaldo banging in hat-tricks is probably not a great...
Yeah. See, the Ronaldo one was a funny one. I can't remember. It was Tielemans, wasn't it? In retrospect, like, it's a ridiculous trade. I fully agree. At the time, I think Tielemans had scored like a hat trick or something like that, or so he'd done something crazy which made me think. Oh, like he had like 4 games where he's like really on form. I was just like, I kind of like thought that Ronaldo would have this period that he has had. Like I didn't think he'd be able to sustain his form in that team.
Yeah.
So I thought it was worth taking the risk for the informed Tielemans, which was obviously madness, and it proved to be. But I mean, Ronaldo up until now has had a really sort of dry spell. So I think even if I had him in my team, he wouldn't have actually gained me too many points anyway, in terms of goals and assists and stuff like that. But obviously, it's Ronaldo, and you don't get rid of Ronaldo if he's on your team.
Yeah, you're not going to get Ronaldo back.
Yeah, I look at some of the players I've had, like Ronaldo and Lukaku and Sancho. Like, obviously, he's performing now. All these players were in my team, and obviously, I had them at the point where they were least productive, and now they're all starting to fire. But...
Do you know? I just thought of a really good analogy for your team, Rich. You're like one of the feeder teams in F1. You're the Williams and Alpha Tauris for Mercedes and Red Bull.
Yeah, definitely. That is me to a T.
Yeah. So do you think you're going to focus on the cup or the league for the next couple of weeks? Well, I guess the next couple weeks 31. So when we get to there, have you looked at the fixtures? Are you going to focus on that game week, or are you just going to stick with what you've got?
I have looked at the fixtures a bit back when it was announced that game week 31 was going to be the cup week. And if I remember rightly, the fixtures just aren't really in my favour, I don't think, in terms of the players I've got. They're either like really competitive fixtures or just like, the kind of fixtures where you just know it's not going to be like a big score or anything like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of. I mean, and it's not just for like one or two players. It's not like I can make a few trades for that week or whatever, and I can solve the problem. I think most of my team have like a pretty naff draw, so it's not like I can change the problem with the agency. So that would maybe suggest that just keep the team, and it's like consistency, if you can call it that, and just try and go for that 10th place, and hopefully avoid the special trophy this year.
Well, I think you've been on the right form to get there, so yeah, I'm rooting for you to do it.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on and do your segment.
Yeah, so my segment this week is going to be on my top 5 fantasy flops of this year.
All right.
So it's probably the obvious ones that everyone's going to think about. But yeah, it's something to talk about maybe.
Okay.
Feel free you can throw your flops in as well if you've had any thoughts on players that you thought were going to do well that actually turned out to be pretty naff this year.
Interesting.
So I'm gonna kick it off with Sancho. I mean, I think Sancho was my first draft pick this season. Obviously, a lot of hype behind this transfer at the start of the season. Like, it was an ongoing saga for a couple of seasons. Like Manchester United trying to pick him up, and won't it happen? And then it did finally happen. And like, obviously, he was pretty prolific in the Bundesliga. Like over the seasons that he was with the Borussia Dortmund, and yeah, everyone was excited to see what he could do in the Premier League. But yeah, obviously he didn't get off to the best start. Pretty flat. He even at some points struggled to get into the team, which was not great for myself. And you can see there that so far he's got 3 goals and 3 assists in 24 appearances. Not really great numbers when you compare it to what he was getting in the German leagues. And yeah, a lot of that time he was in my team. He got the there was that stat that came up during the Wolves game, which stayed with me, which was like quite a damning stat for any player, I think, which was like 0 shots, 0 key passes, and 0 dribbles completed, which was quite embarrassing for a player of his stature, I think. But like having said that, I think we've seen in recent weeks that, especially over at least the last 3 game weeks, he's starting to find a bit of his old self. Unfortunately for me, he's now in Jim's team after I traded him out. But obviously, Jim's reaping the benefits for my sort of persistence in keeping with him. But yeah, in terms of total points that he's got so far for this season for a midfielder, 82. So that ranks him 31st in the list of midfielders in terms of total points.
Yeah.
So it's not really great. You'd expect him to be at least maybe top 10 coming into the season.
Yeah. So I have an interesting question for you then about Sancho. if he had come to the Premier League but into a different team, not Man United, do you think he would have been as good as he's known to be in the Bundesliga? Or do you think it's because it's the Premier League he'd have struggled anywhere?
I'm tempted to say he would have struggled anywhere. I mean, notoriously, the Premier League is a much harder league than leagues in Europe. They always say it's way tougher to get to grips with. I think you've seen players that play in the Premier League, like Jack Reelish for one, like go from I don't want to say an average team like Aston Villa because I'm going to get in trouble for that, but go to like the best team in England at the minute.
Yeah, but that's my point.
He's
stayed in the Premier League and he's no longer as good, or he's not appearing to be as good as he was. So if Sancho was in another team like, say, West Ham, Villa, Saints, or someone, anyone sort of mid-tier, would he have way more goals and assists than he does for Man United currently?
I think if he went to, say, like the likes of City, I think he'd have more than what he's got now, but I still think he would have struggled.
Right.
But yeah, I think given like Man United's team at the minute and their sort of struggles in terms of having consistency in the management side and just that team in general, like in terms of the first 11 and the formation and stuff like that, and I think it would be hard for any player going into that team. So yeah, I think he's finally seems to be getting some consistency in that team now. So hopefully it's just onwards and upwards for him from here. So maybe it's a better first pick for next season for someone I won't be.
Okay.
So yeah, moving on to my second flop of the season is Jordan Pickford. I mean, this is an odd one. I almost put Nick Pope in there because I mean I'm a big fan of Nick Pope. I had him in my team last season, and I even drafted him at the start of this season, just because he was consistently sort of like a top five in terms of total points and stuff like that. He was always like, even though he's in the Burnley team, like he was always top five, but he really like this season, like he's really dropped out of that. I think he's something like 10th now.
Yeah.
In the goalkeeper standings, but I thought it was a little bit unfair to pick him, given the performance of certain other keepers, notably England's supposed number one, Jordan Pickford. I mean, it's difficult because Pickford's never going to be anyone's first pick for a keeper, like in fantasy football. But I feel like he's had better seasons previously, especially when during Everton's last season, when Ancelotti was manager, when they had that early run of form. I think he actually performed quite well. But yeah, it just shocks me that this is like our first choice when it comes to goalkeepers the England team, and he's only kept 4 clean sheets this season. And when you look at like goals conceded, like in the list of goalkeepers in the fantasy team, he's like the 3rd highest conceder of goals, which is quite shocking. I thought. Like, I mean, granted, like he's in an Everton team, which is absolutely shocking at the minute. And I guess there's not a lot you can do about certain things, like if you've got nothing in front of you. But that's where I think Nick Pope is different. Like the likes of Nick Pope, he's not always got the best team in front of him, but he always pulls out saves. Obviously he concedes, but he makes the saves to get the save points to make up for the lack of clean sheets, if you know what I mean. Total points so far for Jordan Pickford 75, and he sits 14th in the list of goalkeepers on total points, which when you consider a regular of 20 playing goalkeepers, he's pretty low on that list.
Yeah,
which you wouldn't expect for a number one international goalkeeper. But yeah, worrying times for that lad, especially with the likes of Aaron Ramsdale doing bits at Arsenal. So yeah, we shall see what happens there. Next on the list is Lukaku. So obviously there's a lot of hype when he came back to Chelsea. Came back because he said he had unfinished business, and he was obviously coming off the back of like a pretty impressive spell at Inter over a couple of seasons there. Like it says 47 goals in 13 assists over 2 seasons, like pretty impressive figures. He was pretty prolific over there. So when he came back to this league, and you were expecting big things, I think you even, because you managed to draft him, as I remember, I think you even changed your name, and I think we were all gifting you the league title when you drafted him, because we thought it was game over.
Yeah, but he did, and it's the thing, like, he did actually do quite well in like the first couple of weeks, and then he got injured or ill, and he wasn't, and then I got rid of him, and like you say, he's just not really come back.
This is it. So I think again one of my a player that I've had in the sort of not so productive spells. But yeah, is currently on 5 goals and 0 assists in 19 appearances, and he's 21st on the list of forwards. So yeah, not what you'd expect.
No.
From Lukaku. Next is going to be Pierre Aubameyang. So I mean, everyone knows he's had a pretty disastrous season. And like I say there, Jack made this guy his first pick, and I don't think he could have foreseen what was going to happen this season when he picked him. But I mean, I think it was a questionable pick anyway. But Arsenal didn't get off to the best of starts, but despite that, he did score in the first 9 games. He scored 4 goals, and that's all he got for this year. And then obviously some bad behaviour and a pretty serious falling out with the manager meant that you didn't see anything from him from game week 15, and this as your primary striker, it's pretty devastating. Obviously, we all know that he moved on to Barcelona, which seems to be a bit more productive there than he is here. Maybe it's nice weather. But yeah, at the time of his leaving, he was on 44 points, and he sat 34th in the forwards list. And we all know how little there is to pick from the forwards lists. And to be pretty low on that list is you're in with a pretty bad crowd of unperforming forwards.
So is he still on the list?
Yeah, he's still.
So that's what I don't understand with the fantasy. Like, why is he still on the list? He's not in the Premier League anymore.
Is this?
You shouldn't be able to pick him. Like, I feel like that's the kind of thing I would do. Is like bring him in, even though he's not playing in the Premier League anymore.
I wouldn't put it past you, Luke.
I know.
So next is Jack Reelish. Oh, sorry, I need to change that. So yeah, I think this is probably the ultimate sort of unperforming player of the season. A lot of hype about his sort of big money transfer from Villa, his sort of boyhood club, and the big money move to Man City. But he's sort of struggled to make an impact the whole season, really, like in and out of the team, and just not really producing what you'd expect from him. As he produced for Villa, I mean, he was a bit of a hero at Villa, and now he's a little bit not forgotten, but like, yeah, I don't think he's worth having in your team, is he? At the minute, he's got 2 goals and 2 assists in 18 Premier League appearances this season. So yeah, I mean, not been a great performance from Jack. And so yeah, that's got him on a total of 60 points, and he's 71st in the midfield in the rank of midfielders. And again, like give him, even when he was at Villa, like he was still a top player to have. And then obviously after his performance, like at the Euros and stuff, like going into this season, you thought, I think most people thought he was going to be like a high performing player and stuff. But yeah, it's just not turned out to be that way, unfortunately. But I mean, he's getting into the team more regularly over recent weeks. Don't think he's done anything. I don't think he's got any goals or assists that I can remember in recent weeks. But I guess being in the team is better than nothing. And then I just added a few honourable mentions into the mix. Leon Bailey. I mean, I'm going to get slaughtered for this because there's two Villa players in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Leon Bailey. I don't know a lot about Leon Bailey, but I remember a lot of
hype,
a lot of positivity, and like a lot of, you got a lot of bigging up in the WhatsApp group about coming back to Villa and what he was going to do. Like, and I think particularly Adam was quite excited by him. But yeah, again, it's not really panned out for him. He's in the team. I think he's been injured as well. If you compare like what he's done in the Premier League this season to what he did at the likes of like Leverkusen and stuff, it's not really on the same level. So he's again not really found his feet. As with Danny Ings, I mean, you don't really expect anything from Danny Ings, I guess. I mean, you probably know as a former Southampton striker, but he obviously, like every season he has like a period where, well, usually he seems to have a period of like absolute sort of prolific strike rates.
I think he's had a few assists for Will recently, to be fair. But you're right, he's not done as well as he has previous seasons when he was at Saints as one of the lead strikers.
Yeah, I think he's either like struggles to get in the team or he struggles with injury. But he's one of those players where, like you say, like you pick him because he does go on these sort of extraordinary runs of form, but he doesn't seem to have done that this year with Villa. So yeah, that's why I put him in there. Bamford as well. Again, I put Bamford in there just because, again, in previous seasons, like he's always done well, and I know Tom's a big fan of Bamford. And last season he did great things for Tom, but obviously again this season it's not quite worked out for him in terms of playing time and injuries and stuff. So yeah, it's not been great for him.
No.
And yeah, I just put DCL in as well, again for the same reasons. Like he had a good start to. Well, it seemed like his form from the previous season was going to follow into this season. I think the first 3 game weeks he scored on multiple occasions, but then ever since then he's not really been able to do anything. He had a long spell out injured, which is unfortunate. But yeah, since coming back, it's come into a team that has pretty much zero confidence and by the looks of it. And again, not been the DCL of previous seasons. And then I just put Nikola Vlasic in there as well. Just because, again, there was a little bit of buzz about this transfer. I mean, it kind of slightly went under the radar a bit, but yeah, I was just looking at some of his stats from when he was at Moscow. And yeah, he always seemed to be a pretty consistent scorer, always scoring more than 10 goals each season, and quite a few assists. But yeah, he's had a pretty patchy season, to say the least, I think, with West Ham.
I guess it's the same thing, isn't it, coming into the Premier League? I guess he might be playing in a slightly different position than what he was before, so it's... I mean, I had him for a little bit, and there's a couple of games he did something, but you're right, it's probably not as consistent as you'd like.
Yeah, I think he's got like 1 assist for the season, maybe, or 1 goal. I think it's 1 goal for the season, and then that's about it. But it's someone that I kind of thought was going to do a lot better than he has done. So yeah, and yeah, that's it. Those are my flops for the season.
Fair enough. I like it. It's good.
I've just seen that Atletico Madrid are beating Man United in the Champions League, which is terrible because United need to score 2 in order to go through. Did they? Oh no, they don't. They just need to score at least 1 more.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. That was I like that. It was a good. It'll definitely get some conversations going, I think, and be interesting to see if people agree with you or disagree.
I think that'd be most people's picks, to be fair. I'd be interested to see, if there's like other people with better footballing knowledge than myself, like some more sort of obscure picks that people may have sort of thought were going to light up the fantasy season that didn't. So yeah, I'd be interested to see what other people's picks were.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, right. Well, we'll leave it there. Thanks for coming on again, Rich. It's
no worries.
Nice always new segment. Pleasure. I think people will like that. And good luck in the cup.
Thank you, and to you.
And we find out in a couple of weeks. So that should be on the next episode. That'll be. I think the announcement will be what the draft is. And if you've been listening, thanks very much. Please do leave us a like and subscribe. Make sure you comment if you agree or disagree with Rich's picks on the flops, and maybe even put who you think's flopped. Thanks again, Rich. We'll like I said, I don't think this season you'll be back with us, but maybe we can do something at the end with everybody. I haven't decided yet.
Yeah, that'll be good.
We'll see. So yeah, as always, this is the DraftCast, and remember, draft is life. See you next time.